Before we dive in, I want to know, which city, which country are you watching from right now? Drop it down in the comment box below. I always love seeing where this brotherhood is tuning in from. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell for more deep breakdowns on female psychology, modern dating, and emotional mastery. Your support helps this message reach more men who are ready to see the truth without filters. Now let's get into it. This one's called The 3-Month Dating Drop-Off: Why Women Lose Interest. Digital Attention Span Psychology. You've probably felt it. Everything's perfect in the beginning. She's texting fast, laughing at your jokes, asking to see you again, making plans, acting invested, and then suddenly, something shifts. Her replies get slower, her tone changes, her energy cools down. You can feel her pulling away, but you can't explain why. There wasn't a fight, there wasn't another guy, just a slow, quiet fading of attention. This isn't bad luck. It's a pattern built by modern psychology, by dopamine, by overstimulation. What most men don't realize is that attraction today has an expiration date, and that date is written into the way the digital world conditions her attention. The 3-month drop-off isn't random. It's a psychological rhythm that plays out when the initial high of newness starts to fade, and your energy stops matching the emotional stimulation she's used to. In this video, we're going to break it down piece by piece. Why women lose interest even when everything seems fine, how digital attention reshapes attraction, and what separates the man she forgets from the one she never stops thinking about. This isn't about blaming women. It's about understanding the system that rewires desire in the modern world. So stay with me till the end, because once you understand the psychology behind the 3-month drop-off, you'll stop chasing attention and start mastering energy. 1. The attention currency era. We live in a time where attention is the new currency. It's no longer just about love, chemistry, or connection. It's about how long you can hold someone's focus in a world that's fighting to steal it every second. Women today, like men, are caught in a digital ecosystem designed to overstimulate the brain. Every notification, every DM, every new follower gives a small rush of dopamine. It's not evil, it's addictive. The first 3 months of dating often feel electric because everything is new. The texts are unpredictable, the emotions are fresh, and the curiosity is alive. She's intrigued by your mystery, your silence, your energy. But what men don't realize is that during those same months, her brain is also constantly comparing the stimulation she gets from you with the infinite validation she can access online. In this new attention economy, relationships don't end with arguments. They fade through distraction. The digital world has trained our minds to crave novelty and variety. Women are no exception. When she's scrolling through perfectly curated images, romantic clips, and validation loops on social media, her subconscious starts to shift. The emotional excitement she once felt for you competes against the constant dopamine hits from the online world, and once your energy stops triggering that emotional spike, she unconsciously drifts. It's not because she stopped liking you. It's because her brain has been conditioned to chase the next emotional high. Most men misinterpret this. They assume she lost interest because of something they said or because another man showed up. The truth is deeper and quieter. She didn't walk away because you did something wrong. She drifted because your presence stopped feeling new. Her attention was trained by algorithms to crave movement, unpredictability, stimulation. And when the relationship starts to feel calm or familiar, her system interprets it as boredom. That's the danger of the attention currency era. Peace feels dull, and emotional stillness feels like emptiness. In the first 3 months, a woman is not just connecting with who you are, she's reacting to the energy you project. Your messages, tone, rhythm, and emotional unpredictability all play into her psychological stimulation cycle. It's why she lights up at your first few texts, but grows colder as time passes. The novelty fades, and without emotional renewal, the connection starts to decay. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding the modern psychology of attention. Her brain has been wired to respond to stimuli, and if your presence becomes predictable, you're competing against an endless feed of microdopamine hits that never stop. In this digital ecosystem, attention equals attraction. The man who understands how to maintain emotional momentum, not by constant chasing, but by being consistently intriguing, thrives. The key isn't to fight for her focus, but to create emotional gravity so she doesn't want to look away. You do that not through validation, but through vibration, through presence, mystery, and growth. When she senses your energy evolving, her attention reattaches. When she feels you're not stagnant, her curiosity reignites. The 3-month drop-off is simply the expiration date of emotional novelty. In the attention currency era, attraction isn't lost overnight. It fades when you stop being emotionally unpredictable, when your story stops unfolding, and when your energy becomes just another notification in her mind. 2. The predictability paradox. At the start of every connection, mystery is the fuel. In the first few weeks, a woman isn't just drawn to what you show her, she's captivated by what she doesn't know yet. Every message, every pause, every silence carries weight because she's trying to decode who you are. Her imagination fills in the gaps, and that unknown space builds emotional tension. That tension is attraction. But once routine sets in, once she learns your patterns and anticipates your next move, that mystery starts to fade. Most men confuse comfort with connection, thinking that once they've secured her, they can relax and show consistency by being predictable. But what they don't realize is that predictability is the silent killer of desire. When a woman feels she has you completely figured out, her mind stops wondering and her emotions stop chasing. It's not because she's shallow or ungrateful. It's because her psychology is wired for stimulation through uncertainty. The human brain thrives on anticipation. It releases dopamine not from the reward itself, but from the expectation of it. During those first few months, you're unpredictable, spontaneous, and emotionally layered. You might take a few hours to reply. Your tone shifts, your energy fluctuates, and all of that unpredictability keeps her emotionally invested. But when your rhythm becomes robotic, when your replies follow a script, when every interaction feels the same, her subconscious starts to feel safe, but not alive. Safety without excitement slowly turns into emotional numbness. The predictability paradox is that what you think will build trust often destroys attraction. Most men stop leading once they feel secure. They stop flirting, they stop teasing, they stop being intentional. They become emotionally transparent, easy to read, easy to access, easy to expect. And in a world where her attention is constantly stimulated by new faces, new content, and new energy, predictability feels like emotional silence. You didn't change, but your energy stopped evolving. What once intrigued her now feels repetitive, and her curiosity withers. In modern dating, curiosity is the oxygen of attraction. The moment she stops being curious about you, she starts detaching from you. And curiosity only exists when there's uncertainty, challenge, and emotional rhythm. The alpha man understands this balance. He's consistent in value but unpredictable in energy. He doesn't text at the same time every day, doesn't repeat the same compliments, and doesn't let his personality become a routine. He evolves. His growth becomes his mystery. Every interaction with him feels fresh because he doesn't reveal all his layers at once. Predictability is comfort. Unpredictability is magnetism. When you become predictable, she stops feeling that pulse that made her attracted to you in the first place. Most men fall into emotional autopilot. Same date spots, same tone, same rhythm. And that's where her emotional attention begins to drift. Attraction doesn't die in conflict. It dies in routine. The modern woman isn't losing interest in you. She's losing interest in the story that stopped unfolding. In a world full of noise and novelty, the man who remains mysterious in growth, unpredictable in depth, and steady in presence is the one who breaks the predictability paradox. 3. The investment imbalance. In the first month of dating, effort feels natural. Both people are curious, intentional, and emotionally alert. Every text carries thought, every call feels exciting, every moment together feels like progress. But as time passes, that initial urgency begins to fade. The man feels a quiet sense of victory. He's won her attention, her affection, her time. And that's the moment most men stop leading. They stop putting in the small acts of presence that once made her feel chosen. They stop noticing the details that made her feel seen. They stop initiating the emotional rhythm that built the connection in the first place. Slowly, without realizing it, they shift from leading the dance to simply following her steps. And when that happens, the balance breaks. Women fall for consistency, not comfort. In the beginning, your consistency was effort. Your presence had direction. You planned, you pursued, You paid attention. But as the relationship progresses, most men begin to operate from assumption. They assume she's emotionally invested, assume she's comfortable, assume her affection is guaranteed. But attraction doesn't live in assumptions. It lives in active investment. The modern woman's heart doesn't disconnect overnight. It starts with small disappointments, missed moments, lack of initiation. She starts to feel like she's carrying the emotional weight of the relationship alone. When she texts first more often than you, when she's the one planning meetups, when her energy isn't matched, she feels the imbalance. And where imbalance grows, attraction fades. What most men don't understand is that a woman's emotional investment mirrors your consistency of leadership. When she senses that your energy has dropped, her subconscious begins to pull back. It's a form of emotional self-protection. Women don't detach out of coldness. They detach to preserve their self-worth. If you were once the man who inspired her to open up emotionally, but now you've turned passive, she'll begin to protect herself from the disappointment of chasing you. The imbalance becomes visible in her tone, her responses, her availability. She won't argue about it. She'll just gradually stop showing up with the same softness she once had. In today's dating psychology, investment isn't just about material effort. It's about emotional consistency. The alpha man doesn't stop showing up once he's secured her attention. He understands that attraction is an ongoing dialogue, not a one-time victory. His energy remains intentional because he leads with awareness, not validation. He knows that the moment he stops investing emotionally, the polarity begins to collapse. The modern woman doesn't crave luxury. She craves emotional presence. She wants to feel that you're still curious about her, that you're still choosing her with energy, not just habit. When men fall into emotional autopilot, the connection begins to erode quietly. There's no dramatic breakup, no sudden explosion. It's just emotional decay through neglect. She stops laughing as much, stops sharing her thoughts, stops looking at you with that same spark. Not because she met someone else, but because the energy that made her feel alive no longer exists. The 3-month drop-off is often the direct result of the investment imbalance. When the man who once led with intensity starts showing up with complacency, and the woman who once mirrored that intensity begins to protect her energy from emotional disappointment. 4. The digital mirror effect. Social media has become the modern mirror of validation. Every scroll, every like, every comment reflects not just who we are, but who we want to be seen as. For women, this digital reflection carries emotional power. It shapes perception, comparison, and expectation. When she enters a relationship in this environment, her attention isn't solely on the man she's dating. It's split between the connection she's building and the digital world that constantly reminds her of what she could have. The digital mirror effect doesn't just influence how she sees you, it alters how she feels about herself within the relationship. Every day she's exposed to carefully curated lives, highlight reels of other couples, and romantic gestures amplified through filters and captions. It's not her fault, it's how the algorithm works, feeding her endless examples of what ideal love should look like. As she scrolls, her brain is unconsciously comparing. Comparison is no longer occasional, it's continuous. The small moments of silence between texts, the slight changes in your tone, the absence of constant novelty begin to feel like emotional gaps. And when a woman begins to notice these gaps through the lens of comparison, dissatisfaction grows quietly inside her. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because her expectations are being rewritten by what she consumes. This digital mirror creates an invisible competition. You're not just dating her, you're competing with the digital version of perfection that the online world sells her every day. It's the fantasy of constant attention, adventure, and validation. It's the illusion that somewhere, someone is doing more, feeling more, giving more. The more she engages with that world, the harder it becomes for her to stay grounded in the reality of human connection. The imperfections, the slow growth, the quiet stability. Her attention span isn't shortening, it's being hijacked. She's not bored because she wants drama. She's overstimulated because she's been trained to crave emotional fireworks that never last. In this digital ecosystem, attraction doesn't fade because of incompatibility. It fades because reality can't compete with fiction. The woman who once appreciated your calmness may now see it as emotional distance. The The man who once felt exciting may now seem predictable compared to the endless stream of novelty online. Every post, every reel, every romantic quote becomes a mirror reminding her of what she feels she's missing. And the deeper she falls into that mirror, the more detached she becomes from what's real. The digital mirror effect turns attention into an addiction. It rewards her with dopamine spikes for minimal effort and conditions her to seek excitement instead of connection. When her validation source shifts from emotional intimacy to digital acknowledgement, your relationship begins to lose its emotional gravity. She no longer needs your reassurance because the online world gives it faster. She no longer needs to be vulnerable because her online identity provides safety. Slowly, her emotional investment shifts outward. She becomes more present online and less present with you. The alpha man doesn't compete with the digital mirror. He understands it. He recognizes that the modern woman isn't distracted by choice. She's distracted by design. Instead of chasing her attention, he strengthens his energy. He becomes the calm within her chaos, the grounding presence her overstimulated mind craves. In a world where everyone is fighting for her attention, his power lies in creating peace, a space that feels different from the noise. When she scrolls, she sees perfection. When she's with him, she feels real. And in the end, reality, when delivered with strength, depth, and purpose, becomes the rarest form of stimulation in a world built on illusions. 5. The Alpha Retention Code. The modern man spends too much time trying to win attraction and not enough time learning how to sustain it. The chase excites him, the validation fuels him, and once he earns her interest, he unknowingly stops evolving. That's when the 3-month dating drop-off begins, not because she's fickle, but because the energy that once drew her in starts to fade. The Alpha Retention Code is about understanding that attraction is not a finish line. It's a rhythm you must continue to lead. A woman doesn't fall in love with your consistency of presence. She falls in love with your consistency of evolution. The moment you stop growing, she stops feeling emotionally stimulated. In the digital era, attention is currency, but depth is rarity. Most men confuse stability with stagnation. They think being loyal means being static, when in truth, loyalty without growth feels like emotional suffocation. The alpha man understands that the only way to retain a woman's interest is to keep giving her something to emotionally reattach to, not through manipulation, but through expansion. His focus isn't on keeping her, it's on becoming so centered and purpose-driven that she naturally gravitates toward his energy. The deeper he grows into himself, the deeper she feels connected. Women are emotionally intuitive. They don't just sense your words, they sense your direction. When a man loses his edge, his vision, his momentum, she doesn't consciously lose interest. She subconsciously feels the polarity collapse. What kept her curious now feels predictable. What made her admire you now feels like repetition. The Alpha Retention Code is about maintaining polarity through self-evolution. It's understanding that the relationship doesn't die from boredom. It dies when a man's energy becomes predictable, when his mind stops expanding, when his purpose stops leading. An alpha's energy holds 2 layers, stillness and growth. His stillness gives her emotional security. His growth gives her emotional tension. The combination of both creates lasting attraction. The moment you become all stillness with no growth, she feels emotionally safe but not alive. The moment you become all chaos with no grounding, she feels stimulated but not secure. The balance of these 2 energies is what sustains long-term interest. The Alpha Retention Code lies in mastering both, being unpredictable in evolution but unwavering in character. In modern dating, most men fear losing her more than they fear losing themselves. They chase validation, approval, and reassurance, thinking it will keep her close. But what truly anchors a woman isn't reassurance. It's respect. She doesn't stay because you make her feel safe. She stays because you make her feel inspired. The man who keeps growing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually creates a magnetic pull that no digital distraction can compete with. His presence becomes her peace, and his ambition becomes her emotional stimulus. The Alpha Retention Code isn't about control or dominance. It's about energy alignment. When a man is fully aligned with his purpose, his aura communicates leadership without words. He doesn't need to remind her of his worth. His focus, direction, and calm strength do it for him. While others chase attention, he attracts it effortlessly because his energy carries depth. Women in the modern era are constantly surrounded by men who seek validation. The alpha stands apart because he doesn't seek, he radiates. And that radiation, that quiet confidence, that emotional gravity is what keeps her attention long after the 3-month mark has passed.